I just got my package from Blair Layman of ScionGrilleLife. It showed up pretty quickly from Canada. Let's open it up and I'll show you what's inside. This is a cover for the Coolant Reservoir tank. It's a completely handmade item and arrives with a black finish, but I'm going to paint it to hide the tooling marks. Blair is the one who makes a lot of the grills you see for the Gen 2.5 TCs. The cover is going to hide the coolant tank here, which you can see really sticks out as an eyesore compared to the rest of the engine bay. The initial fitment looks good, but requires trimming the tab off the bottom of the radiator cap so it doesn't scrape the cover, and rotating the hose clamp underneath as the opening isn't big enough to allow it to sit on top. Let's see if I can improve upon this. Using my snips, a clamp, and a file, I've made some adjustments to the cover. I trimmed and widened this opening so that I can have the hose clamp screw easily accessible. I also cut an opening at the reservoir cap hole so I could retain the use of the original locking method. In addition to that opening, I folded down the edges a little using my C-clamp. You just need to do it enough so the nub on the cap clears it. Any damage from bending will be sanded and covered up with paint. You'll also notice I used my Dremel to trim off the tab I folded down. The modified fitment around the hose clamp looks good. I have to relocate my LED headlight controller driver because it was in the way. Maybe I'll move it forward a little. Let's screw the cap on and make sure it clears the cover. Which it does, and then clicks into place. If you do end up trimming off the tab, you can still secure the cap by turning it an extra quarter turn. Now to head down to the basement and paint this. I've wiped down the cover with acetone, turned on my ventilation, and I'm ready to apply some high-temp VHT wrinkle paint. I've never used this before, but the instructions say to apply 3 heavy coats in a crosshatch pattern 5 minutes apart. The first layer should be sprayed vertically, followed by a horizontal layer, and then a diagonal one. Be sure to shake the can well between each coat. It's only been 15 minutes, but I can already see some texture. I started with the sides first, and then I did the top. It's now been 2 hours and it looks good so far. Any imperfections are well hidden. I'll just toss this in our dedicated craft oven for an hour at 200 degrees to cure it, and then I'll give it another 2 days before installing. That looks great, and you can still clearly see the coolant levels. I used 3M tape to keep it secured in place under here. That should be good enough, but I went the extra step and drilled 2 holes so I can run a zip tie through here as well. I also replaced my OEM cap with a different one so I could paint it red to match my engine bay. I trimmed the edge of the tab at a 45-degree angle to make sure it doesn't accidentally scrape the cover and mess up my nice new finish. Perfect. While I could have just painted the cover and installed it as is, I'm really happy I spent a little extra time customizing it. It looks great, and best of all, it matches my existing A Car Guy's Garage covers. I'll put a link to where you can get the cover as well as the coolant cap in the video description below. If you haven't hit subscribe to my channel yet, please do so now, and as always, thank you for watching.